evening, everybody. Oops. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ose, and tonight I'm playing Farming Simulator 19 on Estancia, Lapacho, and everything's out. You're queued up there with a bucket full of lime. Okay. That looks like field 11, so a bucket full of lime on field 11. That would be a thing. Field 12, I'm guessing, is the spray. Yep. Okay, who wants to do what? Let's pull my steering wheel up, which I forgot to do before I started. I think I will do the spraying and the worker can do the liming. I've said before, the way to leave yourself a note as to where you got up to. Put everything away every time you're done with it, and if you need to remind yourself to do something at the beginning of your next session, leave that piece of equipment exactly where it needs to be and not put away. I'm pulling out a little bit too far from the edge there, for my comfort at least. There we go. We've got 47,000 money. So, I want to get these fields as productive as they can be as quickly as I can. And for that, kill the weeds. That's not exactly making the fields as productive as I can. Well, kind of is. I think I've already got the seed in the ground by the looks of it. So the weeds came. Oh no! I was going to say the weeds came along as I was planting, but no, they didn't. Because if they had, then part of the field's weeds would have been dead already. Oh, well, there's no surprise there. So we don't go scraping the ends on the this field isn't exactly flat. So I did come across when they released the deck chair. I figured, why do I actually need that? Because, yeah, I can buy a house. I don't need to, I don't need to download the deck chair as another mod. But having seen a lot of the, at least the early releases of the mod maps, the deck chair actually makes a lot of sense, because most of the mod mappers appear to be giving you all of the buildings. So they're designing the farmyards and putting the farmyards down. Well, each farmyard has its own farmhouse. So there's no need to use the IVH trucking. There's no need to use the trailer or one of the farmhouses, because there's already a thing that looks like a farmhouse on your map, although it's not usable. However, if you put the deck chair down just outside of it, it turns it into a usable start location farmhouse. And that's what I've done on the Rolling Hills farm. Is I picked a farm that already has farmyard buildings on it, and I just put the deck chair down where the farmhouse was. Oh, that works out nicely, I think. Very close to the edge there. This map is a little inconvenient when it comes to housing, because the house is 300,000, might even be more than that, and there are no other options. I believe on the Felsbrunn map and the Ravenport map, they reduced the price of the house that you can buy, which is nice, but this map of the house is still terribly expensive. What are we doing? I wonder if the worker would have been that efficient with its coverage of this field. So I think I have managed to kill all the weeds without any part of the field left over. And fertilized growing soybeans. We did quite well there. Drive through here and unload that. We can put the tractor away because we are actually done with that. Got the camera collisions turned off, which is why the camera keeps passing through walls and such. Let's fold that up. I do believe if we go down here there's a lime station, which is kind of handy. Yep, just down there by that tower. Hi VH Trucking, how you doing? Does this not work? is this? This isn't working because... Okay, let's try that again. You have to select the trailer for it to work. There we go. Oh. As far as I'm aware, buying it from this thing is about as costly as buying it from the store. 1,619. Okay. Nine bag. 450 times 4 is 16, 17, 1800. That was cheaper. Okay. Yes, I deliberately held off starting this stream until Arthur was done. So I was playing a little bit of World of Warships off stream while watching Arthur. Started the night out with three really good games where I was top experience earner on our team, and we won all three. Although the last one was a little bit close. I was down to 292 health before, just as the time ran out. But, and I was the last one left on my team, because, yeah. I ended up with 2 enemy ships still alive, and we won on points. So I was happy with that. Come round for the last pass. Don't really have to do the... Why is there a gap there? Okay, there's a gap there. Okay, that's the field lined. Fold that up. And it's looking like the patch for the carriers, the 0.8 patch, has been delayed yet another week. I don't know what that means for some of the missions that are running. Okay, that's still a bit rough. And we will unload that there. Ugh. Okay, whatever. And I'll plant that in the shed too. No, backwards. Backwards is good. That's in the shed. Oh, that'll be fun. What are you planning on playing? Okay, weeding's done, liming's done. I guess I need to plant something on that field too now. It's a matter of interest. How much loan do I have? 100. Okay. does blue mean? Oh, it's been cultivated, so all I have to do is seed it and we're good to go. I might turn that off and go with the other tractor for now. I think I need to repair that weight. Oops. Okay, cool. Mud running, not one thing I got interested in, but in fact I really only got into Truck Sim because Arthur played it on his stream quite some time ago. Farm Sim I got introduced by IL Grey, who is a YouTuber for World of Warships content. And Farm Sim 17, he decided to buy it and put out one video, and then I don't think he ever played it again. But it was enough to get me interested. Up until that point, I'd seen it and thought, I'm not sure how interesting that's actually going to be, and hadn't bothered buying it. A bit like Train Sim. I was aware of that from almost the first year it came out, and I was thinking, how interesting can driving trains around be when you don't have any choice as to where they go or what they're supposed to do? But round about 2013, I think, I bought Train Sim. It wasn't called that at the time. Railworks, I think it was called at the time. And it turns out that the interest wasn't, or the thing wasn't that, you know, you couldn't control where you were going or what you were supposed to do, but the issue was doing it accurately. So yeah, stop a train at a platform. Now when your train's travelling down the tracks at 60 miles an hour and you've got a set amount of time to get to a station and stop and pick up passengers, then it gets interesting, because you want to leave stopping until the last possible minute. You can't take your time to stop because otherwise you won't meet the timetable. So the challenge then becomes learning how effective your brakes are and at what point you need to apply them and at what strength you need to apply them in order to stop where you want the train to stop. Therein lies the challenge. And then with steam trains you have the added problem of keeping steam pressure up and controlling the water content of the boiler and the strength of the fire. Without being wasteful on fuel because the fire's too hot. So you keep blowing the safety valve. Yeah, I think ATS looks nice. and is probably the better driving experience, but ETS has more map, more stuff. Of course, the other thing with ETS is the trucks are only driving at sub 50 miles an hour for the most part. Now it says you're driving at 90 kilometers an hour, but that's actually not that fast, whereas with US trucks you're driving 65, 70, 75, some places 80. So you're actually getting around the place more. But there's far more tracts of countryside that you're driving through in America than there is in Europe. I think as far as how both the games look, they look very good. I think the SCS have got to got the right feel that you are where you are. I'm from the UK. I will say for ETS, the UK sucks because I think it was part of the original release, and it's not a very comprehensive map, and it's not a very accurate map. With the DLC maps, the maps tend to be, I would say, a little more accurate, rather than providing the look and feel of a place. They're actually looking at, they're providing the look, feel, and to some extent the essence of the geography, which the original game release generally doesn't do. Yeah, they get the landmarks in, but not so much the other stuff that makes a city look like it should. But both games are enjoyable, and the multiplayer servers tend to be a lot better than when I started playing ATS and tried out multiplayer. There are a lot of children on the game whose ideas of having fun would rallycross in trucks, and to heck with everybody else who was playing. So you ended up getting your truck smashed up, your load smashed up, and it just wasn't fun. So I played quite some time on solo, but obviously when Arthur started the group transport, that made a difference. Plus all the kids have moved off onto the latest and greatest games, and face it, ATS and ETS aren't cutting edge games anymore. But I think the developers are, and the people who provide the multiplayer experience, are dedicated enough to the game, and the players are dedicated enough that the game's not really going anywhere. Unlike some gaming companies I could mention, EA Games, who bring out a game and expect you know, oh, people have bought the game, they're going to play it. We don't have to provide any new content for it, and people get bored and go away. And EA Games are looking to milk the game for everything it's worth. And players aren't into that. They want, they want to experience new stuff. Once I've played a game for a while, I want more from that game, or I'm going to look for a different game. And Bethesda, is it Bethesda who does World of Warcraft? I mean, they've got that down. You bring out an expansion every year to 6 months, whatever it is. I haven't played World of Warcraft, so I can't speak as an authority on the matter. And that keeps the players coming back. I did play EverQuest 2, and the issue there was, for a long time they were bringing out brand new content, but eventually they got to the sort of, okay, do a series of dungeons and get some tokens and buy some nice gear. And they would then produce, the next expansion would be a new map area where there are a bunch of quests to get some tokens so you could buy some neat gear. Wash, rinse and repeat. You do that 2 expansions and you're getting to the point where I've been here and done that. All that's changed is, instead of being in a wooded land, I'm in a desert land, or I'm in a whatever, mountainous land. And you're not providing me with any new experience, you're providing me with the same experience with different different shaped beasties to fight, and it ceased to be interesting. I don't know if, I mean, obviously Giants has got it somewhat right, because they are bringing out a new release every 2 years and sort of a prime expansion every intervening year. I mean, this map came out in 2018 as the primary release of that year. 12 months after Farm Sim 17 came out, and 12 months before Farm Sim 19 comes out. So, oh, here comes the weeds. Ugh. But they have a following, and they have the sort of game that keeps people coming back for the experience. The downside, I found with the switch from 17 to 19 is you're also relying on the mod community, and the problem is every time you do a new release, you're resetting the mods to 0. And so there are a lot of people who are looking at Farm Sim 19 and saying, but I don't have auto-load trailers, I don't have GPS, I don't have Courseplay, I don't have Follow Me, I don't have all the scripting mods that I'm used to playing in Farm Sim 19 that I've come to rely on. And that's an issue with the long-term sort of player base. If your player base isn't going to join the game for 6 months, you release it in November generally, but your player base isn't going to join until July of the following year, you get to the point of, well, okay, I know I've only got 18 months before the game gets refreshed again. With the DLCs, I don't bother buying the last DLC that Giants released for 17. It was $7 instead of 15. But you know, it had hit the threshold of what is the point of me buying this DLC to only experience it for 6 months and then the new game comes out. Whereas with Train Sim, that's the long-running version as opposed to Train Sim World, which is the new one that came out last winter. You know, I don't have qualms about buying expansions for Train Sim because I know the expansions I bought in 2013 still run on Train Sim 2019, and that's kind of an important thing. You're not destroying someone's collections of DLCs by releasing a new game. What they're doing is building on the game as it already exists. And that may be something that Giants wants to look at. The big release for Train Sim, I think it was last fall, was they finally updated their graphics engine to or the game engine to 64-bit from 32. But you had the choice as to whether you wanted to run Train Sim 19 in 32-bit or 64-bit, whereas before you only had the option of running it in 32. And they said it hasn't changed the graphics any much. What it has done is it's changed the memory addresses. So all of your current content works whether you're playing in 32 or 64-bit mode. However, we can produce far larger maps for people who are playing in 64-bit. You know, the problem was the maps they produced were a limited size, and I know one of the British routes, I think the West Coast Main Line, which was Carlisle to Scotland, so sort of North England into Scotland, and was about, I think, 270 miles of track. My computer had problems running that, and a lot of people did. You know, it was a very, very pretty route, but it was memory intensive and graphically intensive, and basic PCs struggled to run that route. Now, shifting it up to 64-bit, and obviously with my new PC, that route runs very, very well. But they could now extend that route from maybe not do London to Scotland, but they could do the middle of England to Scotland, because they can address so much more memory in a 64-bit than the 32-bit. But the core model of the game hasn't changed. So all of your old content, DLCs, mods, whatever, still work. Okay, we got 45,000 money. I don't want to spray this field until the weeds have finished establishing themselves. One thing I don't like about the way the weeds work is you have to wait for them. And this is quite a long field, so we're going to be waiting for a while before the weeds have finished. I don't think the crops will have grown by then. once I've finished planting this field, I probably need to start looking for a job. The other thing I'm finding a little bit frustrating is this particular cedar is the only relatively decent one for a small size. Because the seed tank on the front is 1500 litres. Working width's 4 metres, and some of the cedars that are sort of slightly wider have much smaller tanks, and in some cases include seed and fertilizer, so less seed. Okay, we did that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to battering ram that line over a bit. There we go. Okay. So, that should be all our fields are done and grow. Oh, we need to fertilize that as well as kill the weeds. Ooh. Let's look at contracts, see what's out there. Sowing, fertilizing, sowing, weeding. Sowing, weeding. Okay. Hmm. 10, 9, 7 or 8.